Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to my hobby blog. Today I want to do just a little bit of a sale haul. So I actually went to my used bookstore a few times over the last month or so. And I also went to a used bookstore up in the mountains when I went up there for vacation a few weeks ago. And I found some really cool books and I really wanted to kind of show them off. Because a lot of these I have either never heard of or they just have really cool covers. And they're all from books from authors who I have a lot of respect and admiration for. And another book or another author who I'm really looking forward getting into her books. But I found a standalone of hers that I've heard a lot of people say to start there with before diving into the big mega series that she wrote. So, first book I want to show is a book by Gene Wolfe that compiles all of his short stories that he's ever written, and that is called Endangered Species. So I've already read about two of them. One is called The Cat, and the other one's called The Map, and both of those belong in the Book of the New Sun series, and actually take place in between Book of the New Sun and Earth of the New Sun. So it really fills out a lot of details that you need going into Earth of the New Sun. And it was so fun to read it, and I'm really excited to get into his other short stories, because I don't really know anything about them, but I've heard a lot of great things, and I love Gene Wolfe's writing. I think he's my top 3 author of all time, along with Robin Hobb and Stephen Erickson. I think those are my top 3, is Gene Wolfe and the other 2. But I also picked up this standalone book called The Master of White Storm by Jenny Wetz. And it's a really, really good copy, too. There's no tears, no folds. The spine is like new. There's no damage with the spine. So it really caught my eye because Jenny Wetz's books are very hard to find. There's no audiobooks that you can find of Walls of Light and Shadow. So it's really hard to read her books for not that much money. And I was able to find the first 6 books of Walls of Light and Shadow at my used bookstore, at the same one that I got this one from. But I heard a lot of people recommend that you read this book first, her standalone fantasy book that's as, I guess, amazing as Walls of Light and Shadow. And I know I'm going to love Walls of Light and Shadow because I love Malazan. I love these big, thick series, Wheel of Time, all that. So I'm really excited to get into this. I love the cover. It makes me think of Severian from Book of the New Sun. But it's also just classic fantasy covers. Like, I just really love seeing this, and seeing it, it was written by Jenny Wetz, and also, look at that price, 75 cents. That was a really strong motivator to picking this up. And I was really surprised, because this store in particularly, most of the books are $3 and up. Even for the newer books, it's always like $2 or $3 cheaper than just buying it new. So I never get good deals from them, but I was very happy to find this book. Maybe they forgot to reprice it when they moved. But yeah, very excited for this one. So the next book that I actually got from Barnes & Noble. I couldn't find a used copy of this, but I'm continuing my Dune journey. I have not read Book 5, Heretics of Dune, but I picked up Chapter House. And I'm loving Dune. Book 4 is my favorite one, I think, in terms of personal preference. But I also just love the world and the world building and the characters and the ideas that Frank Herbert is exploring. So I picked these up. Very excited to get into it. And I will do a review whenever I get to it. But I also found some non-Dune books by Frank Herbert that I'm very excited to read. I read the backs of them when I first bought them, so a lot of them I forgot about. But this one I think is my favorite cover, and it's for a book called The God Makers. So it's another sci-fi story by Frank Herbert. And it has an awesome, awesome cover. This is such old school cool for me. When I saw this cover, I was I just fell in love. And I also love on the right here this little quote. It says, "An adventure in the far reaches of the imagination by the author of Dune and Dune Messiah." So this came out after he wrote book 2 of Dune and took a vacation from Dune. So very cool. I was very happy to see this. I'm really excited to read it. I will do a review if I love it, but if I don't, then I'm sure I will still share why it didn't work for me. But my God, look at that. I just love it. I love the feel of this book. Really great size as well. Oh my God. So I also got this book here, also written by Frank Herbert, that took place, or that was released after book 3. And it is The Dasadi Experiment. I think I'm saying that right. But this is another sci-fi story about a toxic planet. I don't know anything about this book beyond that because I don't want to know. I want to go in completely blind because I just love Frank Herbert's writing and I want to see what other crazy ideas he has in his head. And I love the cover, how it has like a city within an egg and the egg exploding from the top. What is going on? Is this an event in the book? I doubt it, but I'm very excited. It's also like $3, so. And another book that I picked up at the used bookstore that was also written by Frank Herbert is the Santaroga Barrier. I had I didn't, but the store had the the scanner thing in the way, the tag, so I had to look at the back. But I don't really know this one either. It's not sci-fi. It does take place on our world, but this is like a far future world of Earth. So I don't know I've never heard of this one. The other ones I may have read the titles to, but the cover looks cool. Gives me a lot of like the Blob vibes, like 1950s sci-fi aesthetics there. So I'm really excited to see how this book is. But the last Frank Herbert book that I got was this book here that was co-written by Brian Herbert and also Kevin Anderson. And to my knowledge, this is like a documentary about the first 6 books of the Dune series and sort of going into the letters of Frank Herbert. It's sort of like what Christopher Tolkien did for his father, J.R. Tolkien, for the Middle-earth materials. But this book is called The Road to Dune. It goes into just all what I said, the ideas, all of that. I haven't picked it up. I don't really know anything about what this book is about beyond what I just said, which is that it's about his sort of how he wrote it, how he came up with his ideas, and I love that shit. I love learning about that, so I'm sure this book will be very, very exciting for me. And lastly, I got this book because someone actually recommended it in my comments section in one of my Book the New Sun reviews. And I've heard about this author a lot. George R. R. Martin is a huge fan. I think he has listed this author as his favorite. But I got Jack Vance's Tales of the Dying Earth. This is a used copy I found at one of the mountain used bookstores that I visited. And I know nothing about this, but it's about a dying Earth, obviously. So that should be really exciting for me as a big fan of Book the New Sun. And it's old school fantasy or old school sci-fi. So if anything, it will be very far out because they were doing a lot back then. This came out back in 1950. Is what it says on that page, whatever it's called. So yeah, those are all the books that I got. I am very excited for them. Are there any that you have read that you would prioritize reading, or at least think I should prioritize reading? There are so many books out there, and they're all so exciting, and I'm always happy to pick up more. And especially from these authors, Frank Herbert, Gene Wolfe, Jenny Wirtz, Jack Vance. So I'm really excited for this. And yeah, that is it for today. Thank you all so much for watching, and please have a great rest of the day.